What's up, everybody? Damage Per Second Podcast, week 28. We're really chugging right along. I was going to say 6 away from 22, still pretty lucky. Not sure how long I'm going to keep doing that. It's not really funny anymore. So I'm just so I say why not just keep it up. So how's everyone's week been? Brett and Keith, tell me all about yourselves. Introduce yourselves and tell us a fun fact.
Hello, my theory is that anytime you feel a joke is running its course, you just keep saying it until it becomes funny again. So keep at it. And I'm Brett.
And I'm Brett.
My name's Giorgio Fettuccine, and I'm the top pasta maker in all of Italy.
Are you just gonna do that now every week? You're just gonna like come up with a weird name because I really like it.
Yeah, probably. As long as I can keep coming up with them on the spot, maybe I will.
Man, that's crazy how your name happens to be George Fettuccine, and you just happen to become a pasta maker.
That's a coincidence, and frankly, I'm sick of people pointing that out to me.
My name is Derek Pasta. No relation, but I am a pasta maker.
I'm also a pasta maker, actually.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm not the top one in Italy. I am third most. I'm the third top pasta maker, but I'm hoping to get up there.
My name's actually Justin Rotini, and I'm also a pasta maker, and I do YouTube stuff on the side. That's nuts, guys.
Oh, what's up?
Not the top pasta maker. My pasta's not very good, but I really hope you guys will give me a chance.
So who went last week? Was it Keith? Keith, why don't you let us know what's been new with you this week? Tell us everything, every nitty-gritty detail if possible.
Well, I've been setting up my apartment. Pretty much done here. Trying to get it totally done this weekend. Jen was out of town, so it's sort of this weekend. It's been equal parts, like getting some stuff done, like getting apartment set up, and being a real piece of shit. So that's been pretty good. Playing a lot of video games, playing a lot of Overwatch. We get Witcher back next weekend, I think, but mostly just been playing Overwatch, having a good time with that. Not too much new to say about it. It's just it's still fun, but they've only got a couple more days to come out with that competitive mode and still have it be in June like they said. So I hope they do it, and I hope that.
Oh, geez.
You know, I'm having a good time with it, but it'd be nice to see them add some new life to it. You know, new modes and everything.
I agree with that.
I think they probably got to do. They probably got to do that because I know I'm still having fun with it, but I could totally see how like some people at this point, if they've been playing nonstop, and a lot of people have been playing a lot more than we have, but. I could see how some people might be like, all right, well, we've been doing this for 2 months now or something, so hope we can get something new in there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're talking about all kinds of things. I mean, they've been balancing it. They're talking about new modes, new competitive mode, new heroes. So hopefully we'll get a lot of that the next couple of days here. At least some announcements. And then... Just excited about Witcher, but I haven't been playing any more video games other than that. I've been following some E3 coverage, just sort of listening to the Giant Bombcast, because they put out a ton of hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of E3 stuff. And a lot of it's just them chatting with people and not really talking about video games. But it was sort of the perfect opportunity. I usually don't listen to all that, but this time... It was a good opportunity because they had a bunch of shit to do around the house. So I've been listening to some of that, and that's about it.
If I can make a quick note about moving, it's good that you're doing a lot of stuff now, because I found that moving is the exact time where if you don't do everything possible right when you move, you're never going to, or at least I never did.
Yep, pretty much. I've done that same thing before, so I'm trying to like push through it now. And I'm this close, so just gotta hang up. Like I got my stereo system set up, which is a big pain in the ass. So that's probably the most difficult thing. I mean, other than moving in itself sucks, but and all the pictures, it's pretty easy. So got like 3 more or something to hang up. So I'll probably do that while I'm talking to you guys.
And it's just
Also, or go ahead. What were you gonna say?
it's like, well, I was planning on getting a bookcase, and I'm gonna set, put all my books from these boxes in them. And it's like, if I don't do that within a week of moving in, those books are never leaving a box
Yep.
that they
pretty
came
much.
in. Never.
I was happy that my dad and Jen helped me out a bit. I don't know why, because like last time we did it, it was so awful. Like it took so long. It was so exhausting that like both of them were like, I'm never doing this again. And then like 2 years later, they're like I even told them like, yeah, I'll probably just like hire someone. And then they're both like, oh, okay, well, we'll come, we'll see what we can, And I was like, wow, okay. So that was a big help.
Nice.
Oh, something else that's interesting is Overwatch just put out an announcement. People on console, I mean, it can be trouble on PC too, but people in console have been complaining about Torbjorn because he's got these turrets that he can put down, and they instantly acquire the target. They're just as accurate on console as they are on PC, and you just see, all Torbjorn teams over and over and over again on console because it's so much harder to hit them. You're not as good at aiming. And it was just a serious problem. Like, it was obviously a situation where, well, Torbjorn's going to be just as effective on console as he is on PC, and pretty much every other hero is not going to be because they have to aim.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can shoot normally too, but his turrets are his main advantage. So you would just see teams, stacking Torbjorns or a couple Torbjorns and other people, and as soon as you pop out to deal with one, you get instantly target acquired on 3-4 other turrets, and they kill you. So they're lowering the damage by 30% only on console, which is kind of interesting because that's the first time they're balancing differently on console than PC.
That's really neat to me how that you have to balance differently for a console. It's
Yeah.
I've never actually heard of that in any game before. Is that
I
common?
wanted to avoid it, but
I mean, it's pretty cool. The way that they did it with Team Fortress 2, Team Fortress 2 was on consoles. It came with the orange box for free. But they basically dropped support of it after, like, the first big update on PC. So if you played it on PC and console, it is two completely different games. So it's kind of cool to see them actually putting some stock into this console version.
Yeah.
And put some thought into it.
For how long?
Yeah, for how long? Yeah, I don't know. But hopefully it'll maintain, I guess, for the console peasants.
People in the chat are talking about Overwatch in general. Halt Manimal asks, is Overwatch any good? And there's a smiley face there, so I'm not sure if he's like, you guys talk about Overwatch a lot.
I think it's probably him saying, oh, you guys talk about that all the time. It's awesome. But that's what I think. I'm not familiar with it. Hey, so a pizza just came, so I'll be gone for just like 5 minutes max.
Dude, enjoy that pizza. Me and Jayborino will run the show.
I gotta go pick it up.
No problem.
Downstairs.
Brett, why don't you tell us what you've been doing this week?
Well, it's been a pretty dry week in terms of like new stuff again. I've been playing lots of Rocket League. They just came out with a new update that was a complete skill reset. So, the lowest ranks in the world will be playing with the highest ranks in the world, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they just totally reset all those skills.
Oh, God.
And it's actually been kind of cool to play with some people that are just, like, unbelievable at the game. It's freaking crazy. Like, there's a special title you get if you get the top rank at the season, and I've seen one of those around, so that was kind of cool. But it's been fun. It's kind of toxic because, the top-level players of Rocket League are just toxic, like in any game where there's top-level players. Like people voting to forfeit after one goal was being scored on you. That type of shit. Like, oh, I just know we're going to lose. I'm on a 7-game losing streak. Right? Yeah. I know we're going to lose. Blah, blah, blah. So that's pretty unnerving, where I can't just have, like, a competitive, casual experience without having to want to rip my hair out because of the community.
Yeah, that sucks.
So I picked up a game today which I haven't really played much of, so I won't be able to say much about, but it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions for the Wii U, and it's like a JRPG, and it's a mixture between Persona and Fire Emblem, but it's mostly a Persona game with just Fire Emblem characters in it. So it's like turn-based dungeon crawling type action where you're playing as like these pop stars or something, And so like the whole premise is that everybody has some performa power in them, and that's what makes them be a pop star, and then also be like powerful and be able to go through these stupid dungeons. Because I mean, like, you know, it's like performa, persona, like that type of thing. So that game seems like it's gonna be cool. I probably won't talk about it a ton on here, but it's gonna be a fun way to kill some time.
So you're talking about Persona, and this is a question I've wanted to ask for a long time, and this is a great opportunity, because you're talking about it like, oh, you know what Persona is, and I have no idea. I hear people talk about it a lot, and I have no idea what the game is, and my understanding of it is it's like you're like in school or something.
Yep. So Persona, each Persona is a little different. The only ones that really took off were Persona 3 and Persona 4, and I only really played a sizable chunk of Persona 4. But basically, the idea is that during the day, you will be doing like high school stuff. So you can literally like, you know, join drama club, or you answer questions from your teacher, and you socialize with your friends and whatever, and you go around and do stuff. And then during the after hours of school, like the weekends and stuff, you go to the dungeons and try to save your friends who are mysteriously disappearing. And so basically, in Persona 4, it's like these people are kidnapped, and then you have to go into a dungeon where an evil version of them is like running the joint. And so you have to take over and kill the evil version of them with their persona, and then they gain their persona back. It's like really...
Oh, that's the name of the thing.
Exactly! So, I don't know, there's just something really special about that series. They're just like so unique and awesome and beautiful. God, and even the menus are just like really nice looking.
Huh.
It's even the case with the game that I was talking about, Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Well, thank you for explaining this to me, because I honestly had no idea what these games were about.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just a JRPG with like dungeons where you go around and do turn-based battles and try to get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Be a little tedious. Like in Persona 4, it's pretty repetitive having to go through all the dungeons and stuff, but it's I don't know. There's just a charm about it that's really cool.
Okay.
And all the characters are super likable. And whatever. Well, like, it's mostly the writing that you're going to be playing the games for when they're like anime games. So.
Well, I'll never play it, but that sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you ever want to give a JRPG a chance, I would say like Persona 4 is the go-to for a lot of people, because it's like not very difficult, and it's easy to understand. The premise is really, it's there. It's really fun. I don't know. It was like one of my first JRPG experiences, really.
Hey, I'm back. Could you just go over everything you've been talking about for the past 5 minutes again?
Honestly, we've just been talking about like Persona, pretty much.
Nice.
Think of Persona 4.
I was asking what is Persona in general, because I have no idea, and apparently it relates to like the gameplay is similar to this other game that you were talking about, Brett. So.
Yeah. I was just saying I pick up Tokyo Mirage Sessions for the Wii U.
Tokyo Massage Sessions, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds great.
I played through part of one of those Persona games, something Golden, or I don't know, for Vita.
Yeah.
It was good, but it seemed I like the core ideas, but it seemed like maybe more repetitive than it needed to be.
Yeah.
Like you're going through like floors of a tower or something like that, and they all kind of seemed similar, or maybe even like randomly generated or something.
Yeah.
It's difficult to tell. But I really liked the combat. I liked the different personas.
Yeah. So that's about it. Also patiently awaiting. If you'll remember, I was talking about a DS visual novel game, Virtue's Last Reward, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The finale for the trilogy of 999, Virtue's Last Reward, and now Zero Time Dilemma, that will be coming out on Tuesday. So I'll be able to talk at you guys about a game you don't care about for 10 minutes every week for like the next year. So that'll be good.
Really excited about that.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually looking forward to that game a lot, to see the finale of how everything ends, because it sounds like it ends real nice.
Ooh, yeah. Real nice.
Who doesn't want anything better than a new I mean, a real good ending. Speaking of good endings, I've also been watching Breaking Bad again.
Oh yeah.
What a fantastic show. And there's so many like there's so many references to like gangsta movies, not gangsta movies, but like mafia movies, like The Godfather and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool to go back and watch that from the beginning.
There's just so many good things about that show, and the ending they did do just right.
Oh yeah.
Like there's so many shows where it ends and you just sort of feel empty inside.
Yeah.
And that show, it ended very well. Like I was sad it was over, but it was time. You know, that's how I felt at least. It was time for it to be over.
Definitely.
And it was just great.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to getting deeper into that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been up to.
Cool.
What have you been up to?
I finished XCOM 2.
Oh wow, nice.
2 days ago? I finished it 2 days ago, and that game, the ending was really hard. Like, way harder than I expected.
What difficulty were you on?
Just veteran, so not the hardest or anything like that, but it was tough. The last section, it was really, really rough, and the only reason that I won, even like the first battle, and one of my favorite things to do in that game is just do like the weirdest, randomest things and just hope that it works.
Mm-hmm.
So in particular, like I have a character named Big Tim, who's my combat hacker, and you know the big sectopods, like the giant robots.
Yes.
Like real big robots. They get like 3 turns too. Like every time they have like 3 actions. And my favorite thing is to try to hack them every time. I'm like, I don't care. It's a 36% chance we're doing it. And I grabbed one at the exact moment that I would have lost if I didn't. And it was like the most rewarding thing. So it all is kind of coming together. We did our talk with Imposter that one time he was on about like what it is about turn-based games, and it's kind of like gambling, but like why it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like you take that gamble and it pays off, and you're like, shit, I was definitely gonna lose unless that 30% chance worked, and it's like the most rewarding feeling.
Yeah,
it's just the best. It's okay. So I finished XCOM, and speaking of space stuff, since you know apparently we're talking about space stuff, so I saw the new Independence Day film. It was not good. I think nobody expected it to. The interesting thing was, it wasn't even good in like a campy way that the first movie was. You know, like the first movie was not really good. It was just kind of appealed to the lowest common denominator of people, and it was just like a fun, goofy film, right? I love it. I'm not saying I don't like it, but it was just like a weird movie that I feel like everybody can like. Whereas this one tried to do that and somehow failed at being bad. It's like unbelievable how how it turned out.
That's incredible.
It was, yeah, you know, Tara in the chat saying it was mediocre. When I was in the theater, it was fun. It was a fun film. But when you leave, you just think like that was not good. But I don't regret seeing it.
Would it have been better if Will Smith is in it? Because it seems to me that he's very good at making like turning bad movies into
like Hitch,
enjoyable bad movies.
Yes, I wish he was in it. And apparently he was the one that backed out. They wrote the script centered around him, and then he backed out because After Earth, that movie he did with his son, totally flopped.
Oh.
And he backed out after that movie was not a success.
Wow.
Interesting. Wait, which one? Wait, what movie did he do with his son? That
it was called After Earth. And I don't know if this is official, but as far as I know, he backed out right around the time that movie came out and did very, very poorly.
Just don't put your son in so many movies.
Yeah, you would think that would be the right choice, but that.
Now, let me ask you this: do you think it would have been any better if Jackie Chan was in the movie?
Yes, absolutely. Because
maybe
then we
there
might
was some karate.
Yeah,
some karate against aliens.
It would have been funny if they made a sequel for Independence Day, but they put Jackie Chan in it and called it Rush Hour 4.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Wouldn't that be great?
Mm-hmm. They have to infiltrate the ship. They have to infiltrate the aliens, the mothership, and then it's Jackie Chan running around doing karate to the aliens. And the whole time he's yelling, "I don't want no trouble! I don't want no trouble!" Like he does in Rush Hour.
That's horrible. Oh
Would
dear.
have been worse if I did it in an accent.
Yeah, that's true. That was okay. That was acceptable. But I mean, it's like I don't want to say that I would recommend it, but I wouldn't not recommend it. If you go into it expecting an Independence Day sequel, that is exactly what you get. It was not great. You know, the first film wasn't great, and this one also is not really that good. But it's goofy and silly, and there's like way too many characters. And
Hey,
It is weird that the first movie did so well, because it was like, I mean, it was just pretty okay, but like that's a very famous movie. Were there just like a lot less movies made then, or something?
I think there was a visual,
that
like the
makes
visual
sense.
Yeah,
effects
the visual
of it
landmark.
were very distinctive.
I have a question about the new one. Did anybody bite the pin off of a grenade, look at the screen, and say, "I've had enough of this shit," and then throw it?
No, is that from something
I
else?
I just think it'd be a really cool action film. And actually, while I have you guys here,
I think it would have been any better if someone did that, Justin.
You know, I think that could improve most films.
I've had enough of this shit.
Schindler's List could have been greatly improved with.
I think Schindler's List could have been improved by a big food fight scene. Someone just yells, "Food fight!"
You know, to really show the camaraderie.
Oh my god.
The camaraderie of what? Speaking of the Holocaust, as we're transitioning through, because you know there've been a lot of speaking of. I'm serious. This makes complete sense. Speaking of the Holocaust, there is a show on Amazon Prime streaming called The Man in the High Castle, based off of the book of the same name by Philip Dick, and it is a great show, and I would highly recommend it. I feel like Amazon streaming has some really cool shows that nobody knows about, and it was such a good show, and I would really recommend it. There's only 10 episodes, so you can bomb through it if you so choose.
I get what you did there. It's a little offensive. Bomb through it.
Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't intended.
Come on.
The Holocaust thing, that was just objectively true.
Executive producer Ridley Scott. Wow.
Yes. So the thing about it, the reason that it connects, why I brought it up when I was talking about the Holocaust, is that the show is an alternate history on what would have happened if Germany and Japan won World War II.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
So Germany occupies the right half of the United States, and Japan occupies the left side of the United States. And basically, it kind of like there's a new Cold War, and it's between Japan and Germany, as opposed to United States and Soviet Union. And it's kind of mind-bending because the whole premise of the show is that the resistance in the United States is looking for these films, and these films contain an alternate history of their world, which is our world. So we're watching like a movie or a film or a show of an alternate history, and then within that alternate history, there's like a fictional film that portrays our history where we won, the Allies won, and like they want to find it so they can use it for propaganda.
They're actually watching it on their Amazon Prime. Have you heard about this new show? It's called. I wonder if maybe like someone went back in time or something like that, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want
Made
to
it so
say
that-
too much more about it because it's really neat, and so it's kind of like an
sounds great,
alternate history.
honestly. Super interesting.
Yeah, it's like science fiction too. So I would highly recommend it. And again, it's not a huge time commitment. Yeah, and I'd recommend it. And if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. So.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been up to, and again, mostly in terms of games, it's been XCOM 2. Masked Imposter brought up that the Steam Summer Sale is happening, and asking if there's been any good deals that we've kept our eyes on.
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't been watching it as much as I should be, but I mean, Doom.
Yeah. Well, the summer sales, they're not exciting anymore because they don't do daily deals.
Yeah.
Right? So there's like no reason to really check the store every day and
They
like.
don't.
I mean, I don't really mind that because it was kind of shitty to buy something and then have it just be way cheaper later. But you know, people learned. I don't really know what the point of it is now. They just have featured deals every day, but nothing goes lower than it usually is on the first day, unless some publisher decides to put something on sale like halfway through or something. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird. All the excitement's gone from it. I bought a game, Tales of Symphonia, yesterday, which I really have no intention of starting, so that's a good start.
See,
I
like
want to start
today's
event.
highlighted deals. So is that
Yeah, see, they just
basically
highlight deals every day, but like it's the
weird?
same deals.
Well, the thing with the old summer sales is there would be flash sales and daily sales, but everything would go on sale at its lowest cost on the last day anyway. So I mean, it's you could say
Well,
that was
if it was
exploited, but everything still went back on sale on the last
If it was
day.
a top deal, if it wasn't, then you were screwed.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they would only do like certain things. I mean, granted they do a shitload of them, but I mean, if you wanted some underground game, usually those might not make it on sale for the deep cuts.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with Chat and Imposter and mentioning he's been through enough summer sales that there's not anything he wants anymore. And I'm the same way. Like I have everything I want. The only thing I was holding out for is I was waiting to buy Enemy Within, the XCOM expansion for the first game, the first remake game, whatever you would consider it, because I knew it would go 75 off. So I bought it like immediately upon the sale starting. I bought it right away.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe I should do that.
They're kind of doing some shitty things. Apparently, Bethesda's sale prices have been super jacked up, and I think that's mainly because of Skyrim. Skyrim is getting that legendary remake or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sorry, they're just the words are farting out slowly. So when you on PC, if you have all of the Skyrim DLC, then you get the upgrade for the new version for free. But with that being said, I think I got the Legendary Edition for like $10, and I'm pretty sure it's like only 50% off this time around. And all the DLC is like very not discounted.
Yikes!
So on to that.
I think you see things like that happen a lot. So, like for example, I was just saying I saw the the new Independence Day film, and we wanted to watch the first Independence Day because Tara hadn't seen it, and so we looked, and I know it used to be on Netflix, and I think they did this like when they, being the production companies, they always pull the first movie off of any streaming service that it's on right before the sequel comes out because they know people are going to watch it. And I feel like it's the same. They're doing the same with games now.
Yeah. Yeah, what can you say, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting, though.
Well, can't blame them.
If I was going to buy any, like, what I should go ahead and buy, it's like Doom, Enemy Within.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although, on the other hand...
yeah, I was going to buy Doom, too, but...
Is Enemy Within standalone?
No, it's an expansion.
You need the
because
don't you have the original game on PC?
I do, but we were kind of talking about it, and I kind of decided, well, maybe I shouldn't go ahead and play the first game again, because then I'll be sick of it by the time.
Oh, right.
Oh,
the second
yeah.
game.
I mean, it just depends on your
want more,
circumstances,
maybe you
because
could go back.
they're both 75 off. You could get both bundled together for like $20 maybe, probably less than that.
Right.
Now, do you think for a while people were super into Ark Survival Evolved? That's on there. That could be pretty fun. I mean,
That
it
game
looked
could be cool, but
it looked pretty fun. I wonder, but it's one of those games where you kind of wonder at this point. You're like, is it even worth it at this point, or?
right. It ran like horribly on my computer, so I got the Steam refund for it. Luckily, I mean, it seems like there's a lot there, but I don't think I'm really into that survival thing at all. It's you watch the videos with like select things happening, but there's no saying how long people walk around looking for somebody. Could be like hours. Because I mean, I've played games for hours and not seen a single person. And it's like, why am I doing this? Because I mean, the main selling point is like the social interaction. But if you're not seeing people, what's the point? And like some of them get super hardcore as well, like elitist. Like people.
Oh yeah.
If you go into Ark and you don't have like a full set of gear, maybe people are gonna be assholes to you. Like that happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
weird how stuff like that kind of happens, and the question is like, well, should the game developers do anything about it, or just kind of let the game culture evolve as it does?
Yeah.
I see like the Witcher Wild Hunt's 50% off. I mean, you can get that's interesting. Game with the expansion pack is 33% off expansion pass, and the game by itself is 50% off. So
the
you could just
bundle
buy.
probably has a discount anyways. normally.
I don't know. Yeah, that's weird. It's like, well, it's like, so if you buy both of them together, it's 75. If you buy the game by itself, it's, I mean, sorry, 25 plus. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's like the expansion isn't really. Yeah, the expansion isn't really discounted at all. It's just 25 regardless.
Yeah.
You know, if I could transfer my save from PlayStation, I would.
To PC,
I mean, like, I would probably just go ahead and buy it and play. But you know, I'm not gonna replay stuff now. And
yeah, no, that's how I feel.
know, there's some other stuff like that. I really hope crossplay is the future. Like that. I mean, it would just make decisions so much easier for me. Like that could be something, and I've done Sony my entire life. That could be something that would get me to buy an Xbox. And I'm not that against Xbox or anything. It just tends to enjoy PlayStation stuff, and I like a lot of their IP. And I just sort of always done it, so I just continue to do it. And then this previous cycle, a lot more people bought PS4s, so it was just even easier. But I mean, they really should take advantage of that. You know, the fact that, I mean, I heard Phil Spencer talking about it on the Giant Bombcast, and he was saying how for the longest time we were looking at like people playing on PC and saying like, oh, how can we get these people? You know, and then because it was like smaller subsections of Microsoft kind of competing with each other, and then eventually they were like, you know, we should probably just try to get those people who might want to play on both, you know, platforms and use the PC fan base to our advantage. He actually seemed really cool. Like he was, I don't know, he seemed like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy, and was very customer centric. And he was not at all trying to like. He was trying to say like, look, if you want your Xbox games to play better, don't get a Scorpio, don't get you know, the next whatever the other new version of the Xbox is. Like, there's some of them are going to come out and they're going to be, you know, you're going to have a better version on this console. But really, like, we're trying to target 4K people. He just tried to be like totally full disclosure.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to say, yeah, we're gonna like all these games are gonna play better, and you should just get this regardless. Like, if you have an Xbox, get the new one. If you have, you know, if you don't have an Xbox, get the new one.
Right.
He wasn't trying to do that. He was just saying like, you know,
like
some games might play better if it's like Halo. If it's like Halo 5, you know, they have this sort of upscaling thing worked in, so your frame rates, it's going to be higher. You know, if you have a 4K TV, you're going to want to get the new version. But that's really who we're trying to target. We're trying to make it more like the PC market, where things are more modular, and it's not like, because a lot of people were kind of making fun of them for announcing all these things at the same time and saying like, oh, you know, here are these games coming out for Xbox, and then, I mean, here's Scorpio, but you shouldn't buy that because there's this other thing we're talking about. And he was like, no, it's really about having separate models so people could buy what is best for them. So it's about, you know, if you have a 4K TV, then you're going to want to get this model. If you don't, then you're going to want to get the Scorpio. So I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just loving this trend of like companies actually being transparent with gamers and talking to us on a level that's understandable.
It's getting a lot better. I mean,
PR bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Blizzard with Overwatch. It's insane. Like, it doesn't even matter if they don't put the update out on time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter because they're being so transparent and like talking us through the whole thing, the whole process of like what's going on and like how the matchmaking works and all this shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy and it's so unnecessary, but it's like really awesome and it's gonna do their game wonders.
And their whole thought process, like they don't say, okay, well, don't let anybody know what we're thinking about until they're like, well, we considered doing this, but then we found that this was true, you know. And you just see like top level executives talking like real people, which is pretty cool, and not like hush hush PR bullshit like you were saying.
Yep.
Also, Overwatch, it's another interesting thing they're doing. Sorry, Justin's chat, but just really quick, they had something prefer this player and, you know, avoid this player, where anybody you could right click and you could say, I don't really want to play with this person again, or I would like to play with this person again. So they're keeping the prefer this player option. They actually removed the avoid this player option. I know, because I was like looking for it because there was some a-hole that we were playing with. But They removed it, I think, in part because for a couple reasons. They talked about it, like you were saying, Brett. They were really transparent, and they said, well, one, like, well, I think part of it, they didn't overtly say this, is it really seems like they're trying to make it as non-toxic as possible. They're really trying to sort of control certain parts about it to prevent people from being dicks to each other. And they found that one major thing that was happening was that, like, low level people would play with would somehow get paired up with high level people on their team or off their team, and they'd get, like, their ass kicked, and then they would say, I don't want to play with this person again. And then people who were performing really, really well, like, you know, top something %, they would get matched up with people, and they would do really well, and people would say, I don't want to play with them anymore. And they would have a really hard time finding matches. Like, it really negatively impacted their matchmaking time. So that was kind of funny. But yes, they removed that option.
Very unintended consequences right there, I think. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
How neat is that? Yeah.
Cool. I forget what I was gonna bring something else up about XCOM. Yeah, $10 for both, Keith. Someone in the chat mentioned.
I think he has the original one, right? You have.
I do.
Enemy with unknown, but just not within.
Okay, yeah, I got within for
I'd
6,
say,
I think.
If it's cheap, just pick it up and then
maybe
play it later.
That's what I was gonna say,
price.
and, you know, just play it until you get sick of it and then stop. Because, like,
That's
you'll
what
get
you
to
like
a
to
point
see.
you're like, okay, I'm done with this. Then just stop. Like, don't hesitate to stop. XCOM 2 is different enough that you won't not want to play it if you get sick of Enemy Within.
It is, 40% off. That's pretty good. I mean, still, it's 40% off of 60. Still hasn't gone down in price since February.
What hasn't?
XCOM 2.
Oh, XCOM 2. Yeah.
But that might still be worth it right there. All right. Yeah, I love it when it's basically like, well, I can't even argue with that, you know?
Yeah,
like $6, come on. That's like the best feeling, right? When you first get a good gaming PC and there's so many games on Steam that you've just been waiting forever to play, and some big Steam sale happens and you can just get everything for not very much money. It's the best feeling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Steam sales are dangerous, but
I do feel like we've missed the glory days, though, of Steam sales. You know what I mean? Like, they used to be glorious.
I was a part of them, but I mean, I don't think we missed them. They just might be gone. Because, I
just
mean,
the fact that
everywhere
they're
has
gone,
sales
yeah.
now, all the time. So it's like, it doesn't really matter. They're not an event like they used to be.
Yeah.
They're still there, but, you know, they're just not as groundbreaking as they once were because, you know, Green Man Gaming came out, and Indie Gala came out, and Reddit Game Deals came out, and Cheap Ass Gamer has been there forever. It's like, if you really want a deal, you've probably already found it.
Yep.
Already bought it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Like, why does it seem not as cool as it did before? Is it just us, like, for younger people or something like that, or people who are first getting their gaming PCs? Does it still feel like it used to for us, or is it for the reasons you mentioned, like,
Isn't it?
you know, these other competing sites came out? And
Isn't it kind of a recently new thing where publishers are able to control their prices, like, on the dot on Steam? So, like,
I
they
don't
can
know.
just do whatever they want
I'm not sure.
rather than Steam controlling it. I feel like that is. I don't know. I might be wrong on that, but that could be a factor.
Certainly there have, I mean, more competitors have emerged.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't know.
I think it's just digital downloads. We all knew it was a novel concept when it started, and now it's not anymore. So that's why we're seeing just normal things, like normal prices, normal sales.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's still a big deal. You still see sales go up for games like crazy. Like, Doom was #1 seller yesterday, so that's awesome, and I think that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
40% off is a really deep discount for a game that just came out a month ago for, like, for really high reviews.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's cool that they're doing that. But, yeah, the deep discounts that I have come to expect from Steam sales are just, like, not there anymore. I'm not tempted by almost anything.
That's
you
what
guys
it
think
is.
about-
Yeah, I used to
Right,
just
yeah.
buy on a whim, and now I just don't care.
Well, I think for a while I've just had a decent backlog of good games, you know, that I'm never like, man, I really need something to play. I should pick up, you know. So I've always got, you know, ahead of me right now. I have The Witcher 3, and I have Metal Gear Solid 5, and XCOM 2, I guess. So there's kind of a lot.
Mm.
So that's a lot of time. So I mean, maybe part of it is that. What do you guys think about CD key shops?
I don't use them.
I don't use them.
Too sketchy to me, especially like G2A. The way that I hear that they work, just I don't know, just doesn't rub me the right way.
I heard that I saw that on Reddit. That
Yeah,
was
they were like stealing keys or some shit. I don't know.
well, it was like a bunch of people, and it's question. You know, no one knows how involved they are, because apparently a bunch of stolen credit card numbers bought a ton of Steam keys directly from Steam, or directly from, like, there was an indie developer, and they were saying, well, a bunch of stolen credit cards purchased these keys directly from that some indie developer set up a shop, and so they bought all of them, and then they just charged, you know, people realized their credit cards are stolen, and they charged back all these copies. So the keys are gone, people have them now, and they get charged back, so they don't keep any of the money. And so apparently it was a really big issue for this particular developer, and then they were sold to G2A, which is just a well-known G2A, right? Well-known CD key shop online.
Oh yeah, they sponsor
And so
everyone.
it was questionable, like, how involved they were. Did they just? My assumption is they just say, anybody who will sell us keys, right? We'll buy your keys from you. But then there's stuff like, you know, do they verify? How do they verify? Because you probably can't verify a Steam key without redeeming it. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it seems true to me. So there's questions like that. Is there a chance that you're just going to buy a CD key and it's not going to work? I'd probably.
Yeah.
I've bought some from different CD key shops online, like where I'm like, well, I kind of want to play this thing. It's $60 right now. I'm unwilling to pay $60 for it. So I'll look at the shop, and it's a Steam key. So clearly this was sold by Steam to someone at some point. And what I never considered until this recent thing is like stolen credit cards and chargebacks.
Yeah.
But then I'm wondering, well, is the accountability on, key shops and people not buying from key shops, or is the accountability on? It seems to me that it would be fairly trivial for Steam to say, Steam doesn't like these key resellers anyway.
Yeah, no,
Direct
definitely.
competitors. And it seems like not trivial, but they certainly have the resources to make keys invalid that were charged back, charged backed. You know what I mean?
Chargebacked.
And I can't see any reason why they wouldn't do that. Certainly in this one situation, the indie developer, they're like, well, we don't want to go through Steam. We want to make some extra money, so we're going to, create our own shop. And we want to control it. And then maybe they probably didn't have the resources to do all of that. So they were hit pretty hard by it. But I don't know. I just think it's kind of interesting, because I always thought, like, well, clearly this was sold by Steam at some point to somebody, whether it was, in Russia where the keys are sold cheaper and then they end up here, and you pay less for it or something like that. But so I never really felt bad about it until I found out about, like, the sort of credit card issue.
Yeah.
It really puts into perspective, like, when you get one, you think, like, oh, this isn't a big deal. But I suppose you think differently once you look at it at a bigger scale like that and realize, like, well, if everyone's doing it this way, this is hurting majorly the digital system in general, digital distribution.
Yeah. Well, and when you hear about, like, these individual cases where, like, a certain indie developer was hit super hard individually, That sucks for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess credit card fraud is a much bigger issue than digital games, but yeah, still. I guess if you can get if you can get a game during a Steam sale or something like that, it's a good time to get it because then you can get it for the price you want, and you know that it's legitimate, and you're helping developers and not hurting them.
Yep, for sure. On a totally different note, but still on Steam sales in general, is what's the deal with 40%? Why is everything 40%? You never fucking saw 40. It's either 50 or 75.
I don't know. It's a happy medium.
I don't like it at all. It completely takes me out of the fun of buying on sale. 50 or bust.
60. There must be some math involved. Like, how can they sell Doom for $35.99, but not $29.99?
I don't know, but I'm not happy about it.
$6 per sale. I mean,
50 certainly does sound a lot better than 40.
I don't know if some get like Darkest Dungeon is 40 off. If it was 50, I think I would have bought it without really hesitating. But now that it's 40, I'm honestly on the cusp of not getting it.
Maybe you shouldn't be playing it that way. You should be spinning it as, wow, this is practically 50% off. I should be getting this.
It's practically 50%. But Brett, that doesn't make any sense.
But wet.
But wet.
You should be less fiscally responsible, Justin.
I don't know what to tell you, son.
I'm sorry, son. I'm not your dad.
Well, do we have an anecdote?
A what? Oh, an anecdote. An anecdote. That did not click with me. I thought maybe that was like a Japanese game you were playing or something. I don't know. Yeah, so the anecdote I feel like it can be expansive tonight. Is talk about some side characters that you really like from shows or movies that really stand out to you and steal a show.
Omar from The Wire.
Oh, I was thinking that. That's what Tara said too.
He's so awesome. He steals that show. Every time he's on screen, you're just drawn.
Yeah, he's great.
He's probably only got like an hour of screen time full freaking force.
That's because there's like 1 million characters on that show.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, Jesse from Breaking Bad, I'll say that.
You think he's a side character?
Well, I guess he's not a side character. See. How
He's
about
like,
Mike?
I mean, Walt's obviously the top, but he's a
definitely
very,
a
very
main
close
character.
second.
Yeah, all right.
Mike is
depends.
great and steals the show. And Saul, I mean, now you don't think of him as being a minor character, but and another thing about Jesse is that he was supposed to die originally, like when that show started. So that is a good argument. Like, obviously, he was supposed to die. The only reason he didn't is because he stole the show and he worked his way to being, arguably the star of the show, or at least second.
He really is such an unbelievable actor, though. Like, it is unreal. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Aaron Paul is great.
He's very talented.
I looked at I was looking it up because I knew there's like some good options. I'm just like desperately trying to remember some, but I looked up best minor characters, and some of these this is like so stupid. It seems like this is a joke. Number 18, Kit Fisto from Star Wars. He doesn't even talk at all. He just dies.
Kit Fisto. God damn it.
That's stupid. Oh man. This is a terrible article.
So speaking of Breaking Bad, if I had to pick a supporting character for Breaking Bad, I would pick Hank.
Oh my god, he's so awesome. And he just gets dealt such a shit hand. Holy Jesus.
I love his character development because he's at face value, like when you watch the pilot, you're like, oh man, this guy sucks. Like he's such an asshole. Yeah. And then as the series goes on, you realize like it's all an image.
Yeah.
And I like the idea how it really emphasizes like that's a big emphasis of the show is how much of an image Frank puts on to be like macho guy.
Frank, what's his name? Hank.
Did I say Frank?
Yeah. And I'm also noticing this time around, we may as well just call this Breaking Bad anecdote. Marie isn't as big of a bitch as I remember her being. I think she just has issues.
She was at the beginning. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The first season, all the characters are kind of like
assholes.
Caricatures of themselves from later seasons.
Right. It's just cool how that show evolves. And it happens slowly but quickly because it's only 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I found like one article that was a bunch of, like way too minor characters and it didn't make any sense. And then I found another one that was like ridiculously prominent characters, like Darth Vader. Oh, okay. Yeah, what a... You may have looked past this little gem of a character. Heath Ledger in Dark Knight. Okay, the Joker. That's a good one. How about Darby, Justin?
Wait, Darby. What was that from?
The Rings? Was it The Ring?
Oh yeah, Darby.
Justin and I had a stupid. Well, a group of friends. We had a dumb joke that probably won't. I mean, it won't be conveyed well over a podcast. But anyway, in The Ring, they talk to this old woman at a lighthouse or something, and she's got this son who's like an adult, and she's like, Darby is a bit dim or something like that, and he's just sort of like prancing around the backyard while she's talking to him, and we thought it'd be really funny if at the end of the movie they realized that Darby was the killer all along.
Oh yeah, and then the best part was like at a certain point, the main character, like it would be revealed, and then the main character would just sort of look to the side and go, Darby. As if to say, yeah, I always knew.
I should have known. Who else?
There's so many good ones, but it is a good point that like, I mean, a lot of them like that you'd think of now, you wouldn't even necessarily think of as being like a minor character, because honestly, Darth Vader was originally just supposed to be sort of a henchman,
yeah,
like an a-hole, and then I think it was after the first book they were like, wow, he's so good, and then he ends up being Luke's father.
Yeah. I have one. Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Ah, so good.
/ Angel. Just like the best supporting character. Everybody loved him. I take it Brett doesn't like.
I never watched Buffy.
It was like in such a traditional Joss Whedon style to not do what you expect when like, I mean, I don't want to like really spoil anything, but like he's kind of a sarcastic asshole, and he's basically a character that you love, even though he's a villain. And at a certain point, I don't remember if it was like he has to fight alongside them because their interests are aligned at a certain point, and then he gets like a chip in his head that makes him fight. He can't do anything deliberately like evil or harmful or something like that, and you can tell that he is in love with one of the main characters, but at a certain point they like remind you that vampires don't have a soul, and like he's doing something really awful, and he like doesn't even understand why it's awful, and it's this character that you've grown to love, and it's awesome. It's perfect.
Yep.
Joss Whedon style is like really likes to take the wind out of your sails like that.
Because you like want to root for him, but he keeps doing shitty things over and over again.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Maybe watch that show someday.
And there's a lot of things from those shows have big payoffs too. Like it makes you feel like a lot of the stuff that you would not have liked, or because like you're like, oh, constantly like there's never any payoff and everything's just bad. Like that's a big trend in today's shows, right? Everything is just bad and there's no payoff. It's just like, well, this was shitty and you didn't expect it, so fuck you. And and those older shows, like I'll admit, Buffy has not aged well, like at all. But Angel, I think Angel did, and I don't know. I think that's a good show.
Yeah, me too. Like Wash, I don't know. I mean, he didn't seem like he was supposed to be that prominent when the show started. He's always like left behind and everything. But maybe that's kind of the point, like of his character. But he clearly, I mean, he's kind of everybody's favorite character from that show.
Yeah.
So Alan Tudyk's just great in anything that he does.
I'm trying to think, you know, we watched Daredevil, like all of Daredevil, and I think with that show, I liked every character except Matt Murdock. Like, it's not that I didn't like Matt Murdock, but I cared very little about him compared to, like, everybody else.
Ah, that's a great point. Like, he seems very generic personality-wise. Like, he's got, I don't know, not extremely generic, but just everybody else seems much more complex than he does. And I think maybe they tried to remedy that in the second season a little bit with, like, his sort of internal struggle. But I know how Brett feels about that, and I kind of agree with him. Like, you're just like, ugh, you know?
Yeah.
Every time a superhero's like, maybe I'm actually the villain, and I'm encouraging villains or something. And you're like, oh, shut up.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Find some other way to be interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm totally in line with you there. And it's weird, and I feel bad because it's like he should be interesting. He's blind. Like it's it's extraordinary how interesting of a hero he is, but he's just like bland. He just seems like bland.
I might know what Brett just thought of.
What?
No, never mind. You went, ooh, and I thought maybe you thought of the fact that, and maybe this was the, you know, sort of implied thing, you know, this whole conversation about Daredevil, but Punisher obviously was fantastic. He totally stole the show, I thought, in Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I would consider him. Like, there's a certain point where side characters aren't even side characters anymore because they're like so involved. Like the Punisher, that might as well have just been his show. Like,
I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously he's supposed to be a very important character in season 2. I mean, he's one of the main characters, but he is like doing kind of split duty between the Elektra storyline and like, I mean, he's kind of a villain, and kind of. I mean, there's a lot of very morally ambiguous characters, and everybody who knows about the Punisher knows that that's kind of what role he's going to play. And Elektra too, but you know, he's kind of doing double duty. Like half of the plot in season 2 was about him, and obviously it should be more. Even if he was the main villain or something, like Daredevil should be the main focus of it. But everybody came away from it sort of saying like, boy, he was the best part of that season, and then he ended up winning his own series because of it. So it's kind of just like what John Barenthal. Yeah, it's kind of just like how Shane was kind of stealing the show a lot in Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. I think he's just a great actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I've said before how like I saw him and I was like, man, I hate that guy. And only when I saw like Daredevil season 2, like I watched Walking Dead with Shane. And I was like, I just felt like uncomfortable every time he was in the scene, and then
Shane?
Yeah, it's the same actor.
Only after Daredevil was there, like, oh, he's just a really good actor. It's just, like he's not just awful. You know?
He's not just like a bad person. He plays a really unlikable villain or anti-hero even. I mean, Shane was straight up not someone you liked, but Walking Dead is one of those shows I feel like has gone, unfortunately, downhill.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think so.
Shows, people just drive it into the ground.
Cool.
What's that? Anyone else have any interesting side characters? I feel like there's so many shows where I feel like the side characters really like own the show.
I will say about Walking Dead, like they did. They don't go totally in the realm of supernatural with it, but there was a moment where Jen and I were saying like, if they ever kill off this character, we are just not going to watch anymore because they're just cashing in,
Which show is this?
All of their goodwill. Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
Cashing in all their goodwill for shock value, like season after season. It's just going, and it's not going anywhere. And then they did it, and we were like, all right, no, we're done. And then, like, we didn't even see it. We just heard it was, like, spoiled for us, and we're just like, nah, we're just not going to. And then later they, like, kind of brought him back to life, sort of, like, oh, he didn't really die. Like, I think trying to win back the audience that just, like...
They, like, rewrote the season.
Exodus after it.
Yeah.
And we're just like, fuck you. Like, like that's worse.
Yeah.
just stick by your decisions and don't try to get the emotional shock value of like killing off characters and then just how many shows have been driven into the ground by going down that road, like killing off people and then bringing them back to life for no reason.
Yep.
Like occasionally it works if they do it really well. But I remember Heroes doing that exact same thing.
Oh, fucking Heroes.
Stupid.
What a show.
At the end of that show, every single person was like being brought back to life by getting some blood transfusion by this immortal person, or we go back in time and we stop it. And that's like the quintessential example of a show that, I mean, I was going to say Jump the Shark, but I guess that's Happy Days is the quintessential example of that.
Yeah.
That's the show where they literally jump the shark.
Yeah, where they literally jumped a shark, and that's where the saying came from. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that. There's so many shows where where you could argue it's like the side characters totally steal the show. And I think superhero, I think any show where like the titular character is literally titular, like they're in the title, you become like less interested in them and way more interested in the side characters. Another reason too is because you know that nothing of consequence can really happen to the main character. Like that's the other thing. There's never any consequence for Daredevil. You know he's not gonna die.
Yeah, you're
ever.
not really concerned.
But every side character is up for grabs. So you're a lot more concerned about them because you know that they actually could have some sort of consequences.
Yeah. Oh, mama.
Indeed.
We really liked Foggy a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And Karen, we didn't care that much. We're like, why is she involved? Isn't she like, she's like doing all this like legal work and stuff, like talking to clients. And we're like, isn't she like a secretary? I think this is against the law for her to be like.
She's not even a paralegal.
But then she did then she had some moments that were like, holy shit, awesome.
Yeah, I liked her a lot in season 2. Season 1, I struggled to like anything she was really involved in because it just felt like filler.
Yeah.
But yeah, season 2 she was great. What a fun and sexual time we've had tonight. And I hope everyone enjoyed hanging out with us.
Of course. It was alright.
It was fine.
Better.
Anyone have any fun sign-off comments?
Game of Thrones season finale.
Season finale. I'm gonna watch it. I got my parents' HBO Go login. Don't tell Time Warner.
Ah! I won't.
You know, I live my life by a code, and in one rule: if it's yellow, let it mellow.
All right, I can get behind that, I guess.
That's 2 rules.
Oh, sorry.
All right, well, I hope everyone has a good rest of their Sunday, and this is the DPS podcast signing.